Welcome back to your favorite debunking show on YouTube. We're back. We're debunking a bunch more clips, and today we do something slightly different, something special. It's not UFO clips today. I have some mysterious clips. I have some alien-related clips. So we're just going through the backlog of all these things that we haven't spoken about in previous videos. Okay, so some alien stuff, some mystery stuff in there. So stay tuned. Exciting clips you may have not seen before ahead. Let's get into the first one. This one is called or titled "A Man Stumbles Upon a Mysterious Hole in the Middle of Nowhere and Uncovers Something Utterly Astonishing." Okay, let's check it out.
I think this is a spot.
So he's trying to find this spot again somewhere in the woods where he apparently saw like a hole in the ground before that was kind of mysterious. But here it is. He found it.
So, here is the hole.
And I don't know if you noticed this, right? As you walked past the hole, you could see something weird inside the hole. Did you notice that?
Cave or something. I don't know. That's what I thought. It was the first time.
So it looks a little bit like a cave or something.
I mean, it's how we really.
So, anyway, it's a 5-minute video. He says it's in the middle of nowhere, right underneath this oak tree. Just a hole. So he says when you look inside, there are actually stairs down there, and check this out, right? So there's this hole in the woods somewhere underground, and it leads to this incredibly long and illuminated staircase. Like, that doesn't make much sense. So he actually goes inside then and takes a closer look, daring as he is, and he says like that the stairs actually that lead up looked like they were leading up even further at some point, right? They were going past the surface level. That's how it looked. But anyway, so then he's also kind of weirded out by this whole thing and how all of it is illuminated and stuff, right? It makes no sense. And then considering there's this simple hole in the ground. But anyway, so he descends down and keeps going down. And you see like these lamps left and right. They're like beautifully golden, you know, little cylindrical lamps, like all rather considered and stylish and clean as well. Very weird. So then he, you know, comes to a little curve. That's where he's now, right? Like he's coming from the upper left, comes around the corner, and going down the corner, there's like an infinite amount of stairs, what seems like an infinite amount of stairs, continuing down. So he keeps going down all those stairs, right? Because he wants to find out, and he's much braver than I am. And then by the end of it, and that's where it gets really, really strange, right? So by the end of it, he comes to this really odd door that doesn't fit the whole thing. Like everything else looked rather considered and clean and, you know, like some kind of bunker entry or something. And here he is, and this just looks like a weird old residential door somewhere. So anyway, he goes inside, and what he discovers is kind of puzzling, right? So he films through this metal mesh thing. He goes underneath. And actually, there's like this counter, like a desk type of thing. And what he actually discovers looks a lot like a shopping mall, right? So suddenly he finds himself in this shopping mall space, you know, these shutters down and everything. And it makes no sense. I mean, if you check the original video, I'll link it down in the description, you see how far underground he went. And for a shopping mall to be there, it just makes absolutely no sense. But it's there, right? And it's very, very strange. And there's a longer version of this video on YouTube, which we won't go through now, which I'm going to link as well in the description. And you can check it out because apparently he may discover something down there in this shopping mall. If you watch the whole video, go check it out. So I was intrigued by this. I watched it like, what the frick is going on there? Why have I never seen this before? Well, there's a reason for it, okay? This is not a real film. This is a short film made by a guy called Kane Pixels, and he is 17 years old, okay? He's also the guy who was majorly responsible for the whole backrooms meme, right? You're familiar with this. These slightly weird, geometrically odd spaces with these odd creatures inside and people in hazmat suits. This whole thing, he invented that as well, I think. So he created one of the first movies where he created like this illusion of them walking through this infinite space of these kind of wallpapered walls that just make no sense at all. So this same guy, Kane Pixels, created the film we just saw. And there is actually a longer version and a more high-res version of it on YouTube, but I just felt the other one was kind of slightly more mysterious, so I decided to show you this one. But you can check this one out. Obviously, it has more details, but here's the thing, right? He says it himself. He's using Blender to create this, right? So he's rendering this. So the whole staircase, everything that you see here is not real. He rendered this. It's a 17-year-old guy on his presumably fairly powerful home computer creating these visuals, and he clearly blends reality with footage. You can kind of see it when you see this. There's like the staircase in the hole, and it looks ever so slightly off. The camera wouldn't capture it. You see as he walks towards the hole now, keep an eye on it. You see this? You could already kind of see the staircase, but it looked off. I think the camera wouldn't have filmed it that way. So there's a few indicators that give it away if you're really trained when it comes to CGI stuff. Like you see, I think, for example, this is a CGI shot, but the outside world, he must have had like a green screen in there. What you see up here is mapped to be real footage, okay? So he's blending reality and CGI elements as you see them here. And again, if you look really, really close, you can kind of see that some of the rocks look more modeled than they are real, but it's all like absolutely minor detail. And if you don't have the trained eye, you would never notice this, right? Also towards the end of this clip, there's this lamp on the wall. Check this out over here on the right-hand side. And you can clearly see it's off. It doesn't look right. I don't know if this is towards the end of the tunnel scene, so I don't know if he got like sloppy with his lights positioning towards the end of this. But like, look how it looks almost wrong, right? How dark it is in the spot and how the light seems to be bleeding through the side of this lamp. Because this is like a cylindrical lamp, and you've seen it in other examples previously. It may look like this. The main part of the light is kind of distributed underneath, and you may have a little bit of like almost like a V-shaped shadow, and then there wouldn't be any light here right next to the edge of this lamp. But that's exactly what you can see here in the later clip, right? So it's little details like that that will allow you to spot if something is CGI or not. This light doesn't seem right, okay? It makes no sense the way you see it here. And then later when he reaches the shopping mall area, I think, I don't know, right? I'm just speculating here, but it feels to me this might be real footage as well, that he may have shot in some derelict shopping mall, and then he created like a little cut somewhere that nobody noticed, where he then blends from the CGI footage to the real footage. Now, I don't know where. I mean, there are some elements here where it's literally black, where the screen was literally black for a second. So it could be, I don't know. It's very hard to tell because he's reaching a very high level of realism with his renders as well. Great film though. Go check him out. Please go and check Kane Pixels also on Twitter and stuff. Follow him there. Okay, really good stuff. I love this video. Really misled me, and I can totally see where he's going with this. I think he's also making a Backrooms movie at the moment, if I'm not mistaken. He's working on a bigger project, so let's see where that's going. Anyway, moving on. I don't want to give this a debunk, okay, because it's a short film, so it doesn't really count. Nobody ever claimed that it's real. Let's get to the next one, and this one is a classic, okay? A real classic. It's a video that a lot of you guys have asked me to look at, to debunk, to explain. There are several ones of this. There are Skinny Bob, but there's also the DNI Alien Interrogation video that was allegedly recorded in 1991 and released in 1997. It was allegedly recorded, as far as I'm aware, in some kind of secret military base, and, you know, they're interviewing an alien here. It is from 1991, so the footage in itself just sucks. The quality is really, really bad. And to be honest with you, I probably wouldn't have covered it. If you go through the video, you can see it here. There's not that much happening. The beginning, the alien is sitting there, and they have all kind of instruments, which, by the way, and I'm not going to go into this that much detail, but some of these instruments have been proven to be completely irrelevant for what they are allegedly doing here. And it's all very mysterious. It's very dimly lit, and every now and then, you know, the creature seems to descend back into the darkness and stuff. You never really see the whole body, but then towards the end of the video, the story is that somehow the creature got ill, it got unwell, and then some doctors come in and they do a little bit of a checkup. And this is the only time where you actually see some of the body of the creature underneath, because they're using a flashlight to look into the eyes and the mouth of this alleged creature. And you see a little bit of the body underneath, right? The flashlight's illuminated. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Maybe in 1997 or whatever, you got away with this stuff and people would have believed it. I'm looking at this, I feel like it debunks itself, right? Just watching it. You watch it and you're like, yeah, this is not real. But there's a few more indicators. Obviously, I spoke about it, like the dark room. Why would it need to be in such a dark room? And you can always come up with a counter argument, right? And say, well, these specific aliens, they like dark rooms. That's why it's a dark room. But it's like, no, or it's because we're hiding a lot of detail. You know, as it is so often, we're filming off UFO videos off screens. We're filming aliens in the darkest humanly possible environment, which is so stupid because this is a recorded interview, right, that the military allegedly put on in some secret facility of like an alien. Surely, I understand the alien doesn't like bright lights, right? But we want to capture all the detail of this alien, and this is our kind of potentially one shot to do this. So let's put up the lights a little bit so we capture some of the detail. No, make it really dim, make it really dark. It's clearly a tactical device, right, to make it more dramatic and to hide detail on the model. So I don't buy that at all. Also, the whole thing, the way the creature moves, especially when it seems to be in distress towards the end, allegedly, it just looks like a puppet, dude. Sure, you can always say, well, it's aliens. You don't know how aliens move. Maybe they move a bit more like puppets. Sure. And then there's the actual checkup by the doctors, which is also, it just doesn't make any sense, right? They're randomly putting this light brutally close to his eye and stuff, and he's not even blinking, right? Like this creature doesn't blink at all. You put the light close to his eye, he's just staring at it. It makes no sense. The actual checkup, what they're doing, the guy in the background is not hardly doing anything, and the guy in the front, he's just like looking at his little slit of a mouth and his eyeballs. And also, I mean, note how they're manhandling this creature, right? Like here's this, what do they call it, the EBBE or something? I think it had a funny name like this alien. But they're like treating it rude, you know, like rough and pulling the head back and stuff. There's no medical professionalism here in terms of how they treat this creature. So they're clearly just actors trying to look as convincing as they can. Now, where does this footage come from? Because I think that may give us a little bit of a hint whether it might be real. I mean, you kind of know what I think. I don't think it's real, but where it might come from, what its origins are. Because this alien interview was seen for the first time in the 1997 documentary titled Area 51, The Alien Interview. It even has its own IMDb page, and it has other characters in there that, you know, people would consider credible, you know, real characters like, you know, Bob Lazar. Art Bell lent his voice for this. David Adair is a famous UFO whistleblower, allegedly. So it's not that it's a mockumentary necessarily, but I read up on it, and there's a few indicators that seem to nudge towards this actually being a mix of a documentary and a mockumentary, because the way this is presented inside this documentary is that there's this guy who only appears in shadow, and it's a little bit like a Bob Lazar parody, right? If you've seen the documentary, you know what I'm talking about. He calls himself Victor, and he claims to have previously worked in Area 51, and that's how he somehow smuggled this footage of the alien interview out of Area 51. Again, this film is currently available on YouTube in full length. You can check it out, the whole documentary, and make up your own mind. But I've read some articles that put scrutiny on this particular guy, and that this part, the alien interview part and the Victor Area 51 employee in shadowed kind of outline, were staged. Okay, and that didn't exist. I don't know. Look, I can't prove it either way. It's just something I read. But what I can say is that the interview itself, the way it's conducted, if you watch it, you know what I'm talking about. It's just not very convincing. It's not acted very well. At some point, he terminates the interview because he was asked a question he didn't like, and then a minute later, he comes back and resumes the interview. It's just, the whole thing is just not very credible. And a lot of people like to claim, well, it's also never been specifically debunked. It's like, yeah, dude, okay. But we just talked about a lot of elements that are at least highly questionable, and I think that alien figure is a puppet. It's not the worst puppet, but it does look very much like a puppet. Maybe it's someone had their hand in them and moved them around a little bit. Who knows how they achieved it, but we will never know because the room was so dark. So we get almost no detail. On top of all that, there's also a whole Wikipedia page about this incident, okay, that I will link down in the description as well. You can get much more scrutiny on this Victor person and on the figure itself. They add more valuable theories about the creation of these puppets and what we see in the actual film. So if you want to dive into more detail, then do it through the link in the description. But I give it a small debunk, okay? A tiny debunk. Because it's debunked in my opinion, but you can always say, but not properly. Okay, fine. It's a small one. It's one of the cutie ones. All right, next I want to look at a clip that is spectacular. Probably a little bit too spectacular to be true. But it shows a guy, it's 26 seconds in length. It shows a guy running through the woods. Okay, so I don't know if he just always runs or that's kind of his thing, how he travels from A to B. But then watch what's going on behind him. Keep your eyes peeled, okay? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Homeboy's running. He's out of there, man. Okay, he's upset, understandably so. So there is this creature that at some point seems to come out of the bushes. I think we can exclude that it's an ape or something, right? I don't think it looks right. It looks very grayish and zombie-like, and it runs after him. Let's look at it at 25% speed. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so you get a bit of an idea. So, see this guy running after him. Here's what I think this is. I don't know, obviously, but I think what we're looking at here is CGI. Someone comped that person in there in the background, and I tell you why. Because especially in moments like this, where the camera is really, really shaky, you wouldn't see this much detail in this creature. It almost looks artificially sharpened, and that is because it's overlaid over the original footage. They did a good job of merging the two. Like, it's pretty well keyed and stuff, right? Like, so it sits in the perfect position. It doesn't wobble around as you get it with some of the UFO footage we're sometimes looking at. So it perfectly sits in the position, but especially there, there was like 1 or 2 frames. Let me see if I can maybe pause it at those frames. Look, this is what I mean. Do you see this? This is not how this creature would look if it would be actually in the space running. It would be as blurry as everything else, but here is this creature, and it's very, very sharp. It's very crisp, and it has like a very defined outline in the midst of this very shaky environment. So it's clearly CGI, but it's a cool film. Some people in the comments are suggesting that it's a guy in a suit, because like, oh look, he's wearing shorts and sunglasses, which I can't really see it. I don't think so. How would you get an artifact like this then? That just doesn't make much sense to me. This is a clear digital artifact. I mean, unless they recorded him running somewhere on a treadmill in the studio and then they comped that in, so it is a guy in a suit, but it's comped in afterwards. I'm convinced that whatever is running after him was not there when that shot was recorded. That is comped in. But guys, that's just my theory. You can let me know your theories down in the comment section below. And my God, you know, we're on a roll today. We're doing one more, okay? Because it's Alien Day. It's International Alien Day today. No, it's actually not. But we're going to do one more nonetheless. And that is that Boyd Bushman, who passed away in 2014 before his death. He recorded himself giving his deathbed confession, in which he held up old photos of what he claims to be actual aliens. He described them as long-fingered and very friendly. He goes on to explain that he had a job at Area 51. It was to reverse engineer alien saucers. Damn, dude, they've got a high turnover over there. Like every other week, someone comes up who tells me that they've been working on reverse engineering tech in Area 51. But hey, there goes this guy. So he holds up these pictures. Unfortunately, you know, may he rest in peace. He did die or pass away in 2014. But he held up these pictures. That was part of his legacy, right? Keep in mind, this is important enough for him to mention this in his deathbed confession. So he knew he would be passing away. So he held these pictures up. And obviously, you know, the UFO scene is losing their mind. They're like, this is amazing. It's all real. 2 alien pictures. Why is this not blowing up? And everyone scratches their head. And as you know, I would like to believe, okay? I want to believe. Why not? If this guy puts it on his deathbed confession, I'm also inclined to say, yeah, probably. I mean, why would he present it? Well, people have done the digging, and it's a Kmart toy. Some people claim that it used to be available at Walmart rather than Kmart. But let's be honest, okay? This is as clear as it gets. Obviously, these models are never going to be exactly one-to-one the same because they have custom paint jobs. Someone literally spray painted them at that time, so the spray paint will always be slightly different. But you can very, very much see that the intent was the same. The way the eyes look, the way it's got even a little second shadow over here, you know, like a dimple or something further back on his jaw, which he has here as well. It's identical. I would even go as far as saying, you know, look a little at details like the nose shape, the nose hole shapes. It's so identical that I would say they probably even come from the same mold. And people have done fairly extensive research on them. People are claiming, you know, they found other ones that still have the price tag on because other people then again claimed that they were never available at Kmart or Walmart. This is another example of what he showed, a picture that Boyd Bushman showed in his deathbed confession. Again, he claimed to have worked at Area 51, and they found out that the pictures she showed of alleged UFOs are copies of a very well-known digital illustration of a UFO on the internet. And I was like, how come you can see this is the same picture? But you can. Look at the little, I almost want to say like L-shaped, for lack of a better word, shape here. That's like a reflection on the UFO. It's the same here. Do you see this L-shaped reflection, right? With the darker ring above, which sits here, the darker ring, and then here this kind of dark triangle reflection that sits on the UFO. That's what you see up here. So it is definitely the same picture, and I mean, that's not even a good picture. It really looks like he just went as far as printing out like something that he found on the internet at the time. And there's more. I mean, he even showed like lots of pictures that were claimed to be authentic, real UFO pictures in this interview as well, and those were debunked as well and found to be like, you know, popular internet illustrations that anyone can really find. So it's pretty clear that none of this is real, as it always is. But I do kind of want to throw this question back to you guys. What do you think? Why do these people do this, right? I mean, okay, this guy, Boyd Bushman, maybe he did have a career in the military or whatever, and he knows he's going to die. Why does he spend his last time sitting down? Is it because he desperately wants like a legacy? Is that what he wants his legacy to be? Because he puts that out there. He knows it's lies, right? He knows that he found that picture on the internet and printed it out. He knows that the pictures of aliens are most probably a puppet. I don't think he believes his own lies. So why would he do this? Maybe leave that down in the comment section below. Why would a man tell these kinds of stories, which are fairly easy to debunk, in my personal opinion, when his life is about to end? Leave that down in the comment section below. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I appreciate you watching. This was a long one, right? We did go on for a long time today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, smash the like button. Show to me through smashing the like button. Subscribe. Join our Discord. Do all the things you need to do. I would very much appreciate that. And otherwise, I see you in the next one. I'm out. Bye.